What's up, you guys? FSC, Fest Jack Speed and Custom Shop. Today we're going to continue on the 1969 Chevelle, which is right behind me. Believe it or not, at this point in the shop, I actually have two Chevelles. This one here is a customer's long before I had the YouTube channel, and then of course you've seen me pick up Gene and Sara Lasker's 1968 Chevelle. There really wasn't much difference in Chevelles between 68 and 69. They were virtually identical with only a handful of differences. Ultimately, this car started as a complete RestoMod project. The way it came to me was in absolute horrible shape. It has sentimental value to the owner of it. It used to be his father's. He never remembered his dad driving it. His dad drove it before he was born. The car's history, it's kind of an unknown. Back then, I was taking a lot of pictures and posting them on my shop's Facebook page. I still have that page. I don't use it hardly at all any longer, but either way, it's there. I'll go ahead and put up a video with those pictures in it so you guys can see what this car was when it first came here. Now, as to why this car is sitting in this condition for so long, well, again, part of what I do is you pay me as I work. It's basically that simple. Once the balance gets low, I slow down work. So if there's a financial issue in the family, I'm understanding of that. There is a point where I have to start pushing on with these projects, particularly because the body is holding up a very important piece of equipment that I need to use for my next project to complete, which is my 91 Chevy truck. I need the rotisserie so I can finish the bodywork and paintwork on the load bed of that truck. So I have to get this so at least I can get her back down on the body dolly and wheel it around to then at which point finish the interior and painting it. Obviously, if you can see behind me, there's a lot of cross bracing in the car. That way it won't warp or bend or flex while it's on a rotisserie. Also, I've replaced both quarter panels on the car. That's a major structural component of the body, especially when it's being held up by the back and the front. In any pieces in the middle, it'll bow and warp. That's why we have all this reinforcement in here. Believe me, I probably put way too much. I didn't want to chance the body being misconformed when we put it down on the chassis. With the amount of body work that's required and the amount of panels that were replaced, I just didn't want to chance anything. With that, let me go ahead and roll the car over. This way you can see what we've been doing and so you can see the project of today. As you can see, the belly has been painted. I had to replace floor pans in the car. This one, the passenger side, was original. This one was okay. The driver's side, that thing had it. It had holes in it. These reinforcement pieces here, these pockets, they keep the floor from flexing. These all were gone. They all had to be replaced. Now, you're probably asking, how come the belly is painted and these are not? Well, the reason is, when I weld these on, I ruined the paint. So I painted everything, ground away the paint where the welding marks were, and then capped it off. We're going to use cavity wax on the inside, but for the time being, I wanted as much of the POR 15 paint as possible underneath here. These were painted, you see where the paint came through the holes. These were painted on the inside as well. So we treat everything on the outside and the inside as much as possible. Also here with the trunk, the entire trunk floor was replaced and all the reinforcements here. This one, along with this one, is where the body bolts to the frame. These here are reinforcements for the trunk, also the tie-down points for your gas tank. Gas tank on these have the filler cap that comes right out here in the center, which are right behind the license plate in the rear bumper. Now if you look here and here, these are not factory wheel wells. These are mini tubs. We have really wide rear wheels on this car. We didn't narrow the frame or narrow the rear axle. We wanted to maximize all the space between the quarter panel and the frame. We have about 1 inch clearance on each side of the tire. That way as the axle hobbles around and bounces and so on and so forth and flexes side to side a little bit, it doesn't rub or give us any clearance issues. So what I have started and I didn't finish, on the bottom one here, I got all the gaps closed up between the new wheel well and the quarter panel. Up here, if you look close, I might show it to you in a minute, there are some gaps here. I have to add some steel and weld it right to the quarter panel itself. Once I do that, we can go ahead and get this bottom prep for paint, get the POR paint on all these parts that are still that are still bare steel and go ahead and put it down on the body dolly. Now we'll be done with the bottom of the Chevelle. I have the body flipped almost all the way upside down. I'm going to look down into the rear wheel well here. You can see this gap right here. Might be hard to see. I already cleaned off all the interior paint that I put in right here. And all this gap I have to add metal to. Like here, I put a placekeeper when I took the old quarter panel off. So this way the spacing is proper. We're now looking at the bottom of the trunk. Obviously the car is basically upside down. The new floor pan for the trunk only goes so wide. It stops here. I have this insert piece loosely installed. It's just sitting in there at the moment. Now what it does is it has a lip. You're not going to be able to see it, but it keeps, this lip keeps stuff from falling in this cavity when you're in the trunk. This is the one from the other side. It's a bit dusty. You can see it's already been painted on the one side. The other side is still bare, as you see. You'll see what's originally hooked to the other side and what it looked like. You see on the other side what remains. That's the actual steel. I cut away all the rust. I used it as best I could to keep the alignment for the inner fender well over here, along with the alignment of the quarter panel from the original positions. This seam right here is where it's going to attach right at the bottom of the quarter panel. Quarter panel comes in like so and meets this seam pretty much exact. Now what I don't want to do is run a bead right down at the edge. Instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to put little holes here and then plug weld it. Now I have this tool right here which will do the job just fine. All it does is, one, it'll put a ripple in the metal. The other thing it'll do is it's got a nice hole punch to it. And there you have a hole. There you go. couple days for me, but obviously not for you. I have the belly now completely finished. All the ribs are painted to match the belly of the car. You got this one here, here, and here, along with your supports here. These are your body mounts here. These for your fuel tank and your other body mount. Obviously, the tub work is to mount the much wider tires from the factory ones. The other thing I did is I took all the paint off the roof. I'll go ahead and roll it over so you see. This way when it's on the body dolly, when I get to it, I can still prime it and paint the car. I definitely will at least fairly soon primer it, but that's in a future video. This car is going to be put on hold for a little while because two reasons. One, I need my rotisserie back like I explained earlier, and also the other Chevelle here, the 68, appears like it's going to change a little bit to where I'm going to need the rotisserie for that car as well. Not just for the body, but maybe also for the frame. Let's see. With that being said, most likely that build is going to retire use of this rotisserie. This car, the 69 Chevelle, this won't need the rotisserie any longer, so I may as well put her down on a body dolly, and once I handle a few other things with the interior, I can go ahead and put it back on the chassis, and it'll actually look like a car again. Thank you for watching. Now we've got the 1969 Chevelle body back on the dolly. I can move it around easier. The whole idea of this exercise was simply, this car needed a lot of work as it was very rusty. Both new quarter panels. We've got new fenders for it as well. The floor pans absolutely needed to be done with very few exceptions. We already got that done. We had to paint the bottom. Now it's ready to go. The only reason I wanted to get it onto the body dolly before I put it on the frame is this. The dashboard needs to be replaced. Right where the windshield met it right here, it's all rusty. So we need a new dashboard and this piece right here, which I do have in stock now. Think about it. If it's on the frame, I can't stand here because I'm standing on a 454 big block. So this way I can finish this. But as of now, it's done, ready to go. Once that's ready, like I said, I'll put her on a frame, she'll be all set to ride. What I'm planning on doing for the future, immediately at least, is to get the load bed off my 91 Chevy 1-ton pickup on that rotisserie you just see me take this off of, so I could roll it over on its side, paint the bottom of it, finish the body work, get it primed, and put it back on the frame. After that, I actually just got off the phone with Gene Lasker. Gene Lasker and Sara Lasker, his wife, own the 1968 Chevelle. That's right, I got two Chevelles in here. They own the 1968 Chevelle that is seen in previous videos. Well, one thing me and Lasker just discussed is we're taking that build in a different direction. Basically, if you follow the Bubba the Love Sponge show, hence the Bubba Army flag there in the background, you know Lasker has that idea of go big or go home. And it's a very important car for him because he's doing it for his wife. It is going to be a go big or go home project. We are going to step that project up with an exciting build. There's a lot of interesting Chevelle go fast stuff and tricks we can do with it, including the mini tubs is this here and some framework we're going to do. We'll get into that. With that being said, go ahead and like, share, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell that when we get to future projects, you will be able to see the videos that go with such project. I also have a line of merch for you guys to look at. Go to fscspeedshop.com, and that's where you'll find a cream machine shirt based on an engine I built for the Bubba the Love Sponge Show's cream machine, which is this really big, like, ice cream truck radio promotional vehicle. Also, this very shirt right here. I got a whole bunch of them just like this. This is a throwback to a shirt I made when I first started this shop. I first had the idea of this shop before I leased this building. As far as the Bubba the Love Sponge show, you've probably been hearing about it recently on the news. For you people that aren't in where the radio show was syndicated nationally, you can get them all over on twitch.tv. You could view it. It's an audio-visual thing now. He broadcasts from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday. Also, you can go back into the archives and get shows that are literally decades old. By the way, he's been in the news recently. Think about it. Where do you think they got those sound clips from? Same place I'm sending you to, BubbaArmyRadio.com or BubbaArmy.com. Go to BubbaArmy.com, you'll find the archives in there right there. It's a heck of a lot of content to entertain yourselves with. You get that 24 hours a day. With that being said, I am Steve Feschek. This is FSC, Feschek Speed and Custom Shop. What else can I do for you?